Two for today. And as you can tell by the title, we got somewhat of good news from Mike McDaniel's presser today. What is up, Finn fans? So yes, today Mike McDaniel had a press conference, kind of talked a little bit about the injuries on the team, who he expects that could play this week, who he expects that could miss this week. We'll go into all of that, as well as some injuries from other teams that could help the Dolphins. But the biggest thing, there's two things I want to talk about before we jump into the Bradley Chubb and all that other stuff. One, the giveaway. Still happening, obviously. I wouldn't do that to you. I'm thinking this weekend, the Jets game at halftime, I'll announce the winner. No, sorry, preview. In the beginning of the preview game on Friday, I will announce the winner of the giveaway. So if you haven't signed up yet, I will put the link in the description. Again, you can go sign up. I just need your name. I need your email so I can contact you that you won. And you have to be subscribed to the channel. And on Friday, at the very beginning of the video, I will announce the winner of the giveaway. You already know, though. If you won, you already know. You'll get the email. The other thing that I want to talk about, the schedule. Now, tonight, the Broncos are facing the Browns. If the Broncos lose to the Browns, that is huge for the Dolphins and their playoff chances. I know. Before you say anything, I know. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but I'm just giving you guys updates. That's what I do here. Give you facts and information. If the Broncos lose tonight, that's huge, because if the Broncos and the Dolphins end the season with the same record, the Dolphins have a tiebreaker because of conference record. Obviously, the Dolphins would have to get to 10 wins. Broncos have a hard schedule going forward. They face the Kansas City Chiefs. They have to face the Chargers. They have a hard schedule going forward. That seems to be the Dolphins' best option of getting into the playoffs is the Broncos. How will that pan out? All that stuff I will talk about tomorrow after the Broncos game tonight, because if they win, higher chance of making the playoffs. If they win, lower chance of making the playoffs. If they lose, higher chance of making the playoffs. I will talk about all of that in tomorrow's video. One last thing before we get into the Miami Dolphins. The 49ers are beat up. I was talking about that the 49ers don't scare me anymore because of how they're playing. Well, I just found out today, about 2 hours ago, that Christian McCaffrey is going on IR with an injury to his PCL. And their other running back, Jordan Mason, is also going on IR with a high ankle sprain. On top of that, their defensive lineman, Kevin Givens, tore his pec, and he will be going on injured reserve. So Trent Williams is also dealing with some injuries too as well. So they're pretty beat up. They are very, very beat up that the Dolphins could take extreme advantage of it. So to say that it's impossible to win the next 5 games, no. But I will talk all about that tomorrow. I'm not going to go too into detail. Let's talk about what happened today. So, edge rusher Bradley Chubb and Cam Good have been sidelined since knee injuries last season. Will begin practice on Wednesday, Coach Mike McDaniel said. Both players must be activated within 21 days in order to play the season. They can be activated anytime within the 21 days. So, if practicing on Wednesday, they look and they say, hey, look, Bradley Chubb looks great. Yada yada will play him for the Jets, then he'll play for the Jets. They might be saving him for the 3 tough games, which is the Texans, 49ers, and the Browns up in Cleveland. My thought process on this is it might be too little too late. I don't know why, they would really, like if they lose to the Jets, they're probably not going to activate them and say, don't worry about it. You might see Tyreek Hill go on IR. You might see a bunch of things because the Bills loss hurt the most. But this Packers loss kind of, there's one more nail left to be put in this coffin. All the nails are put in except for one nail. And that's one more loss. Now, I said we could afford one more loss, and I said to an NFC team, it really won't hurt us. It would help if certain teams lost. They didn't. Chargers won, and the Colts won. Chargers barely won against the Falcons, and the Broncos and the Colts barely won against the Patriots, of course. So that didn't help the Dolphins' chances. Is it impossible for the Dolphins to make the playoffs? No. Like I said, I will talk about it tomorrow. But bringing Bradley Chubb back for 5 games, we'll see. The only way I can see that really sustainably happening is he plays against the Jets. So we'll see how that all pans out. Don't get me wrong, it'll help immensely to have him active and have him go up against, the Texans offensive line has been suspect. CJ Stroud has been getting sacked left and right. Obviously, we know what's going on with the 49ers. The Browns haven't been playing good, and we know how the Jets offensive line has been bad, and Aaron Rodgers is an old man. He can't move anymore. So getting Bradley Chubb back will help, but is it too little too late? Couldn't beat the Bills 61-yard field goal, couldn't beat the Cardinals because of the defense, couldn't beat the Packers, completely fell on our face. And then the other games we lost because we didn't have Tua. So it's like, but I'll keep you guys updated on that. Chubb hasn't played since sustaining an ACL injury on December 31st against Buffalo. And Good hasn't played since injuring a pectoral tendon on January 7th against Buffalo. So we lost both of these guys back-to-back games. McDaniel credit both for how they attacked the rehabbing. Chubb's return in particular will help the Dolphins pass rush that has produced the 4th fewest sacks in the league. Chop, Emmanuel Ogbah, Quentin Bell, Mo Kamara are the edge rushers on the 53-man roster. Bowser was placed on IR. So other notes from his presser. McDaniel said Tyler Huntley will be the backup quarterback behind Tua this week, meaning Skylar Thompson is the 3rd quarterback. He got demoted, which is sad to say for Skylar. I don't think Skylar might be on this team much longer. Looks like Tyler Huntley is the backup, and hopefully this offseason, again, I don't know who's going to be in charge. They get a better backup quarterback. Probably that fumble didn't help. McDaniel said he's optimistic that cornerback Kendall Fuller will play this week after missing 3 games with a concussion. He remains in concussion protocol. He should play. There should be no reason he doesn't play. Quarterback Cater Coe, who's working through a back issue. It's unclear if he will play, McDaniel said, but he won't be going on injured reserve. If you watch that Packers game, he really torqued his back the way he tried to make the interception, and then he got hit. Quarterback Cam Smith's shoulder injury is more serious than Cater Coe, whose back issue, and he's out this week. It's undetermined if he will go on IR. Doesn't matter, to be honest with you. Right tackle Kendall Lamb is dealing with an elbow injury. It's a very painful injury. Could have played longer if we asked him to. He's a veteran that knows how to take care of his body, has a very high pain tolerance. He's doing all right. And that is probably why on a bunch of the plays, if you go back and watch the film breakdown from the Packers game, he was struggling to make his blocks, and there was the tackles for loss, and then, on the 1 yard line, we couldn't punch it in because of his poor blocking. It's probably because he's hurt. Don't push through it. Put someone else there. Put Patrick Paul there. This is why they should have had better depth on the offensive line. This is why the offensive line is such an important piece. You got to get reliable players there. And we have none. So we'll see if this continues, and we'll see if this pans out. But overall, dealing with a ton of injuries, guys are coming back. Now we're facing the Jets, and I obviously will be doing a full breakdown on Friday. Again, I'll talk about the giveaway on Friday. The Jets are down bad. That Seattle game, they were up 21-7. They were feeling themselves. The Seattle Seahawks couldn't do kick returns if their life depended on it. And in the second half, the Jets did nothing. Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. He's old. And I said this when the season started. Watch when the season comes to this point. It's going to start to show that he's old, and he's going to miss throws. He's going to get tired because he's not Tom Brady. No one's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is probably one of the only quarterbacks to play at that age. So, yeah. We got to face the Jets, and, we have an extra days to get ready for this Jets team. So, got to beat the Jets. And then you got the Texans. Then you got the 49ers. Those next 3 games are winnable, especially because they're not in the cold weather, right? They're winnable. Home against a bad Jets team, in a dome, home against a bad 49ers team. These games are winnable, especially if Bradley Chubb is available for that Texans game. Winnable. But we need a lot of help. A lot of help. And for the people who still want to make the playoffs, even though me personally, I think we're one and done in the playoffs. And if you ask me, and this is going to sound like I'm a horrible fan, but if you ask me, hey, do you want to make the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round, but McDaniel and Greer will save their jobs because they made the playoffs? Or do you want to miss the playoffs and Greer gets fired? I want to miss the playoffs. But, a lot of people say you just got to get into the dance and see what happens, which is true. And I'll talk more about this tomorrow. But I like my video I put out earlier today. 6 years of this man being in charge, Chris Greer. It's time to move on. And I'm not trying to be harsh and say, "Oh, fire him." But it's time to move on, and then it's time for the new GM to decide what to do at head coach, because that's also a little bit of an issue now. I'm not all for firing Mike McDaniel. I wouldn't be against it, but you can't have such a drop-off from last year. Like, we were decimated with injuries at the end of the last year, and then the Dolphins did nothing to make the team better. Something's gotta be fixed. They had nothing to build around the quarterback. I wouldn't say they did nothing. They did it wrong, in my opinion. I talked about that all in the video earlier today. Go check that out. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we will see what happens tonight and how that affects the Miami Dolphins playoff chances. I know. And then we got picks, and then we got preview, and then I will see you guys Sunday, 1 o'clock. Dolphins hosting the Jets. Hopefully they get a win, because regardless, I don't want to lose to the Jets because they love talking. But other than that, I'll see you tomorrow. Like usual, stay classy. Offense out.